Hashtag section 2. The trap I set. Nathan thought he had me cornered. Evergreen and was barely holding on, drowning in debt and bad press. My brother had ruined everything I worked so hard to save, and now he was pressuring me to sell the hotel, to his investors, of course. Investors who were nothing more than shady businessmen looking to get the place and turn it into luxury condos. He underestimated me. I wasn't going to let him walk away unscathed. Hashtag step 1. Gathering the evidence. The first thing I did was follow the money. Nathan wasn't careful. He was arrogant, always believing himself to be untouchable. I spent nights combing through financial records, contracts, and backdoor deals he had made in my absence. And then I found it. He had taken out loans under the hotel's name from private lenders with ridiculously high interest rates. He had falsified earnings reports to make it seem like we were profitable while funneling money into his personal accounts. I now had proof of embezzlement, fraud, and financial misconduct. But I didn't want to take him down just yet. No, I wanted him to think he was winning. Hashtag step 2. Playing the fool. Nathan had been pushing me hard to sell. Every day, he'd call, text, and show up to remind me that we were running out of time. "We can't keep this place afloat, Elliot," he said, his voice filled with fake concern. "I have a buyer lined up, man. They'll pay off all our debts, and we'll walk away with a fat paycheck." I pretended to hesitate. I need more time," I told him, my voice weak. "Maybe I can figure something out." Nathan smirked, like he had already won. "You don't have time. If we don't sell, the creditors are coming for the hotel."
He was right about that.
The hotel was in bad shape, and Nathan's mistakes had made it almost impossible to recover. Almost. But I had a plan. Hashtag step 3. Turning the staff against him. Nathan didn't care about the people who worked at Evergreen Inn. He slashed their paychecks, fired long-time employees, and replaced them with unqualified workers just because they were cheaper. The ones who remained hated him. I used that. I had secret meetings with my loyal staff members, the ones who had been there since my parents ran the hotel. I told them the truth, how Nathan had been stealing from the business, how he was planning to sell the hotel to greedy investors, and how I was going to fight back. I asked them to trust me one last time. And they did. The cleaning staff, the front desk workers, the kitchen team, they all turned against him. They started deliberately slowing down service for guests Nathan brought in. They let mistakes happen on purpose, ensuring that any investor Nathan wanted to impress would see the hotel in its worst state. The reviews tanked even further. Nathan's so-called investors started pulling out, losing confidence in his ability to manage anything. He was getting desperate. And I wasn't done yet. Hashtag step 4. The final blow. Nathan was too focused on pushing the sale through to notice what I was really doing. While he was busy scrambling, I had been working in secret. I found a buyer, but not just any buyer. I reached out to a competitor, a well-established hotel chain looking to expand into our town. They didn't want to gut Evergreen Inn. They wanted to preserve its charm and turn it into a high-end boutique hotel. But here's the best part. They only wanted to deal with me. Nathan had tarnished his own reputation so badly that no serious investor wanted to work with him. And since I still owned 51% of the hotel, I had the final say. So, while Nathan was running around trying to find last-minute investors, I signed a deal behind his back. And then came the best part. I called a meeting. Nathan walked into the hotel's conference room, smug as ever. He thought I had finally given in, that I was about to agree to his sale. "What's this about, Elliot?" he asked, leaning back in his chair. I slid the contract across the table. "This," I said, watching his face carefully, "is the deal I just signed. Evergreen Inn has a new owner." Nathan froze. His face paled as he skimmed through the document. You sold it?"
His voice cracked.
I leaned forward.
"Yes."
"But not to your buyers." His hands clenched into fists as he kept reading. And then his eyes landed on the worst part for him, the part where he realized that the new owners wanted nothing to do with him. "Wait, what is this?" "They're buying you out completely," he choked out.
"That's right," I said.
"And they've made it clear that they don't want you involved in any way, which means you're out." Nathan's smirk vanished. He looked at me like he couldn't believe what was happening. You can't do this. I just did. He slammed the contract on the table. This isn't over. I smiled. Oh, it is. And one more thing. I slid another document toward him. A lawsuit. You're also being investigated for fraud and embezzlement. I made sure of it. Nathan's face turned red. His cockiness disappeared in an instant. I stood up, buttoning my jacket. You ruined our family's legacy, Nathan. But you won't ruin me. And with that, I walked away, leaving my brother to drown in the mess he created. End of section 2.
How's that?
Let me know if you want any twists added. Next up, section 3. Nathan's downfall. Hashtag section 3. Nathan's downfall. Nathan sat there, frozen, staring at the lawsuit papers like they were a death sentence. For him, they were. The weight of his crimes was finally catching up to him. The embezzlement, the fraudulent loans, the mismanaged funds, it was all laid out in black and white. And the best part? I had the receipts. Nathan's biggest mistake was thinking I would roll over and let him destroy everything. He underestimated me.
Now it was time for him to pay.
Hashtag the aftermath of the sale. The morning after our brutal confrontation, news spread fast. Employees whispered about how I had outmaneuvered Nathan. Guests gossiped, picking up on the tension that had been lingering in the air for months. And by noon, a news article popped up online. Evergreen and acquired by luxury hotel chain. What's next for the iconic business? It was an official announcement from the new owners, one that confirmed Nathan's worst nightmare. His name wasn't mentioned. At all. He had been erased from the hotel's future, like he had never even existed. The moment I saw the article, I knew it wouldn't take long before Nathan lost it. And I was right. Hashtag Nathan's desperation. That evening, I was in my office, technically my old office since I had officially stepped down as the owner, making way for the new management. My job was done. I had saved the hotel, avenged my parents' legacy, and made sure Nathan paid for his betrayal. But I wasn't expecting what happened next. Nathan stormed in, looking like a man on the edge. "What the hell did you do?" he shouted, slamming his fist against my desk. His eyes were bloodshot, his jaw clenched, so tight it looked painful. I leaned back in my chair, calm. "I did what I had to do. You sold me out." He stopped, his hands shaking. "You planned this the whole time, didn't you?" I didn't deny it. "You deserved it, Nathan," I said, my voice cold. "You stole from this hotel. You gambled with our parents' legacy like it meant nothing. I gave you a chance to do the right thing, and you burned it to the ground." Nathan's nostrils flared. "You think you won?" he sneered. "You think this is over?" I folded my arms. "It is for you." He laughed bitterly, shaking his head. "You're an idiot, Elliot. Do you think those fancy hotel executives are going to let you stay? They don't need you anymore. They got what they wanted." I smirked. "I don't need to stay, Nathan. I got exactly what I wanted. You. Out of the picture, ***. Nathan's face twisted in fury, but there was something else beneath it.
Fear.
He knew he had lost. And then, like a man grasping at his last lifeline, he played his final card. Hashtag, Nathan tries to ruin me. I should have expected it. Nathan was desperate, and desperate men do stupid things. The next morning, I got a call from an old friend in the industry. "Elliot, you might want to check the news." I pulled up my phone, my gut already twisting. And there it was, ***, a smear campaign against me, ***. Former owner of Evergreen and accused of business sabotage. Did he betray his own brother? I nearly laughed. The article was filled with lies, all clearly planted by Nathan. It painted him as the victim, claiming that I had schemed against him, forced him out, and secretly plotted to sell the hotel for my own gain. Nathan even gave a fake interview, claiming I had been jealous of his success and wanted to take everything from him. I wasn't even mad. It was pathetic. But Nathan had made one critical mistake. He forgot that I wasn't just a businessman, I was smarter than him. Hashtag, the final blow. Nathan thought he could ruin my reputation, but I still had one last move to play. I made one phone call. To the bank that had issued those fraudulent loans in the hotel's name. To the private lenders Nathan had screwed over. To the journalists who actually cared about facts and not just selling a scandalous headline. By the time I was done, the real story came out. Nathan Black under investigation for financial fraud. Former hotel co-owner faces legal consequences. His lies crumbled overnight. Banks started calling in their loans, the investors he had scammed. They wanted their money back. And then came the police investigation. By the end of the week, Nathan was facing fraud charges. I wish I could say I felt sorry for him, but I didn't. He had betrayed me, betrayed our family, and ruined the one thing our parents left behind. Now he was paying the price. Hashtag Nathan's arrest. The last time I saw Nathan was 2 months later, outside a courthouse. I was there to testify against him. He was in a suit, but he looked hollowed out, like a man who had lost everything. Because he had. I stood outside the courtroom, watching as he was led away by his lawyers. For a moment, our eyes met. There was no more arrogance. No more smugness. Just defeat. I didn't say a word. I didn't have to. Nathan knew exactly what I was thinking. You did this to yourself. End of section 3. Next up, section 4. Moving on and a final twist. Let me know if you want anything changed. Hashtag section 4. Moving on and a final twist. Nathan's trial didn't last long. The evidence against him was overwhelming. Every fraudulent loan, every mismanaged account, and every stolen dollar was laid out for the court to see. His arrogance had been his downfall. He thought he was untouchable, that he could keep taking and never face the consequences. But reality caught up to him fast. Nathan was found guilty on multiple counts of fraud and embezzlement. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison, along with massive financial penalties that would haunt him for the rest of his life. He lost everything. And I walked away free, victorious, and finally at peace. Hashtag life after Nathan. With Nathan gone, Evergreen Inn was thriving under its new management. The luxury hotel chain stuck to their promise, keeping the heart and soul of the place intact. The old-world charm remained, but with modern upgrades that made it a hotspot for tourists and high-end guests. The best part? They offered me a permanent advisory position. I didn't have to run things anymore, but I could still be involved in the hotel's future. Asterisk on my terms, asterisk. It was the perfect balance. And the staff, the ones who had supported me during my battle with Nathan, they were rewarded big time, higher salaries, better working conditions, and most importantly, respect. For the first time in years, the Evergreen Inn felt like home again. Hashtag a new beginning. With the hotel no longer a weight on my shoulders, I had the chance to focus on my own future. I took a long overdue vacation, something I hadn't done since my parents passed. I traveled, met new people, and for the first time in forever, I wasn't thinking about Nathan. I even rekindled an old flame. Sophia. She had been my girlfriend years ago, back when life was simpler, before the hotel consumed my every thought. We had split up because I was too busy trying to save a sinking ship, but now I had time for love again. Sophia had been keeping an eye on everything from afar. She reached out after Nathan's trial, just to check in. One conversation led to another, and before I knew it, we were catching up over dinner. It felt right, effortless. For the first time in years, I wasn't fighting. I wasn't planning revenge or cleaning up someone else's mess. I was just living. Hashtag the final twist. Months passed. Life settled into something calm, steady, and good. And then, one evening, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Just my name on the front. I opened it, my heart pounding. Inside was a short, handwritten note. You think you won, Elliot? Enjoy your peace while it lasts. I'll be back, asterisk. N. I stared at the words, my blood running cold. Nathan. Even behind bars, he was still plotting. Still scheming. I exhaled, setting the letter down. Let him try. I had beaten him once. And if he ever came back, I'd do it again.
The end.
Firehouse that for a strong finish. Let me know if you want any tweaks. This story has drama, betrayal, revenge, and a hint of an ongoing feud. Perfect for keeping your audience engaged. Smiling face with horns. Hashtag my brother ruined the hotel I saved. I made him regret it in the best way. Asterisk, asterisk. Hashtag section 1. The legacy I fought to save. The cold wind swept through the streets as I stood outside the entrance of the Evergreen Inn, my family's once proud hotel. It was a place of memories, where I grew up, where my parents built their dream from the ground up. And now it was barely standing, a ghost of what it used to be. I clenched my fists, staring at the faded sign above the entrance. The warm glow of the vintage chandeliers inside no longer shined the way they used to. The grand lobby, once filled with laughter and guests from all over, was eerily silent. This was all because of my brother Nathan. Nathan and I had never seen eye to eye. He was the reckless one, always chasing quick money, always taking shortcuts. I, on the other hand, was the responsible sibling, the one who cared about our parents' legacy. When our parents passed away 5 years ago, the hotel was left to the both of us. But Nathan had no interest in preserving it. He wanted to sell it off, strip it for cash, and move on. I fought to keep it. I worked day and night, bringing the hotel back to life after a financial crisis nearly buried it. I sacrificed my social life, invested every penny I had, and turned Evergreen into a thriving boutique hotel. And just when things were finally stable, Nathan came back with his greed and selfishness. Hashtag Nathan's betrayal. 2 years ago, I had made the worst mistake of my life. I trusted my brother. Nathan came to me with a proposal, one that, he claimed, would help us expand and make Evergreen even more successful. He convinced me to give him part of the control, promising he had investors lined up who would turn the hotel into a modern paradise. I was hesitant, but he was my brother. And that was my downfall. I signed over a 49% share to him, keeping myself as the majority owner. What I didn't know was that Nathan had backroom deals with shady businessmen, taking out loans in the hotel's name without my knowledge. Within a year, he had gambled away profits, mismanaged funds, and run the hotel into near bankruptcy. By the time I found out, it was too late. The debt collectors came knocking. The once loyal staff began quitting as Nathan cut salaries and hired incompetent workers. Guests stopped coming due to bad reviews, complaining about horrible service and mismanagement. Evergreen was dying. And Nathan? He acted like it wasn't his fault. "You should have been smarter about this, Elliot," he said with a smug grin when I confronted him. "You gave me control. I just did what I thought was best."
Best?
He had drained our parents' legacy dry and was now trying to push me into selling the hotel. But I wasn't going to give up. Not this time. Hashtag my plan for revenge. Nathan thought he had won.
He thought I was too weak to fight back.
But he underestimated me. I was done being the nice, trusting brother. I dug deep, learning everything about the deals he made, the people he owed, and the dirty secrets he tried to keep hidden. If Nathan wanted to ruin the hotel, I was going to make sure he went down with it. I had a plan, one that would make him regret ever crossing me. End of section 1. Let me know if you want any specific elements added. I'll continue with section 2, the trap I set next.